writers when it comes to psychology, where he said that the best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. I feel like it's something that we always stuck in terms of even when grasping with trying to achieve success, we have this negative connotation when it comes to like entrepreneurs. There's this thing that says that you will never succeed, you will never make it in life, you will never, because entrepreneurship is not for the weak-hearted. Entrepreneurship is not for people that don't know how to persevere, people that don't know what it means to have resilience. And I think I needed to say that quote because it really resonated with me, and also to this conversation, because I love the fact that this conversation goes in hand with not only success as a single thing, but also mental well-being. You can't have success without taking care of your mental well-being. It's either you lose one. That's the thing. And most people, in terms of success, they do that. So I just wanna to say that. And also, my second question still on the conversation of attitude. How does maintaining a positive attitude impact your interactions with others in a business?
So by the way, I just got to tell you, the fact that you're doing this, the fact that you're persevering, the fact that you are doing things possibly that are uncomfortable for you, you're a great host. You ask great questions. And I think it's awesome. So thank you, Seiko, for being such a great host. And you ask great questions. So, I think people are attracted to people who are positive. When there's enough negativity in the world, if you have a positive attitude in business, you attract positivity. And let me just give you one example. I do sales, meaning I have to go out and take rejection a lot. In other words, I have people tell me no a lot, but sometimes I have people tell me yes. Let me tell you one example of how positivity helped that. I was sitting in a high-level director's office in New York, and this high-level director looked at me and he said, "You're the only salesperson I've ever let into my office." And I was surprised because competition was fierce. Now, to be fair, he might have meant about the particular product I was selling, but that's not what he said. He said, "You're the only salesperson I've let into my office." Let me tell you how I got there. Okay. I sent this guy an email and he completely ignored me, didn't respond to me, didn't say anything to me. And so several days later, I decided to call up and ask. He didn't, and so I was completely ignored. I called up and his secretary, now I call them gatekeepers, but sometimes a secretary or an administrative assistant has a phone. So I said, "Hey, can I speak with Bob?" And she said, "He's unavailable." That's what they all say. They're never available. So I said, "Can I speak with Bob?" And I said, "Okay, well, maybe what I could do is resend the email that I'd sent last week and copy it to you to make sure he gets it. Would that be okay?" And she said, "Okay, that's fine." And I noticed, Seiko, that she was have you ever heard someone on the phone and you can almost hear him smiling? Have you ever seen, you can talk to someone on the phone and even though you can't see him, you can hear how positive they are. Yeah. Well, she was one of those people who you could actually kind of hear her smiling. I was on the phone. I couldn't see her, but she was happy. She was cheerful. She was kind. And I said to her, I said, I talk to people all day long on the phone, and it's just really refreshing to have someone as positive and friendly as you are. Thank you. And she said, "Well, thanks," in her kind of friendly way, right? Anyway, and so I was pulling up the email I'd sent 4 or 5 days ago, and I said to her, "You know what? I'm going to mention that to your boss." And so while she was on the phone, I typed really fast, and I said, Dear Bob, I think we'll just call him Bob. I had the opportunity of speaking with Janice. She was very friendly and professional. I think she's an asset to your team. By the way, I'm going to be in New York on these days." And I sent the email again to her boss, to Bob, but this time I copied her on the email. And while she was still on the phone, I sent it to her and I said, "Hey, did that email come through?" And there was a little pause and she was checking. She said, "Yeah, it came through." And then there was another little pause and she said, "Hey, thanks for the compliment." And I said, "Well, it was sincere. I meant it. Thanks for being so awesome." That was the end of the phone call. That was it. I mean, it ended shortly after that. Well, fast forward back to where I'm sitting in this high-level director in New York, and he says, He says, "You're the only salesperson I've ever let into my office." This is what he said next. He goes, the reason you're here is because you were nice to my secretary. He said, I talk to my secretary more than I talk to my wife. And some of these sales guys don't understand it. Isn't that interesting? Just being positive, just complimenting her to her boss is what got me this appointment in this high-level director's office in New York. And so positivity is super powerful, super powerful. And one of the things I like about you, Seiko, is that you are so positive. I can tell you ask these positive questions. You're trying to help people with their mental health. You're trying to help people. You're doing podcasts. I mean, even though I'm sure it's uncomfortable to meet strangers all the time, you don't know how it's going to go. You're still doing it. Good for you. And so I think that's wonderful. And you're trying to help people, be mentally healthy and positive. So just being positive in business, I'll tell you, it attracts positivity back, and things come back to you. If you're the first one to be positive, which I think you're doing.